a courageous move. Being confident in yourself is a courageous move. It's not easy. You know, it's not easy at all. It's not easy at all. So you feel me? You know, it's something that you learn to absorb, you learn to grow into, you learn to, you know, confidently be yourself. Like, it's not something that just comes overnight. And even if it does, you know, it's so easy to fall back out of that, because there's things happening in the world that may tell you you're not good enough, you don't do this right, you need to be better at that. And you may even have thoughts that tell you you're not good enough from past experiences back from when you were a kid, when you, I don't know, you were playing on the playground and you didn't know the rules and some kid told you you suck, and then you held on to that as a kid, and then you grew up holding on to that. That's what happens, right? So being able to let go of all of that other shit. My throat chakra is open, y'all, so curse words will pop out. But to let go of that shit is to fully absorb who you are. So let's jump back into the video and watch another little segment, and then we'll go ahead and talk.
Perform. And I could barely walk leaving the stage. I was just so stunned. Everything went by like a blur. It was just, I had so much passion and energy into that moment. I was overwhelmed emotionally. I was scared, but I'm just so happy with how it turned out, and I'm happy everyone liked it so much in the song. So, yeah.
You talk about, you know, being afraid. You have been performing since you were a baby, you know, your early teen, and you were there with your sister at your side. I remember being at the Today Show, and you were both there playing the piano and performing, and it seemed only logical at some point the two of you would decide to explore different opportunities. Take me to that moment when you had that sister discussion, that it was time to introduce yourselves as individuals.
Yeah, well...
So I have another question for you, right? Have you ever experienced something, or have you ever been in a situation where you had to step out of your comfort zone? Because what Chloe is about to talk about here is, and what Tamron asked her is, you know, how did you decide that it was time for you to step out and be yourself and, like, you know, solo artists, be a solo artist in the sense of artistry. But in your life, have you ever had a moment where you had to make that decision, like, okay, it's time for me to step out of my comfort zone and step into my greatness? Step out of my comfort zone and step into my greatness. I can speak for myself. Right now is a time where I'm stepping out of myself. I see it as a butterfly that's in the cocoon. And if you think about what a butterfly is doing in a cocoon, it sounds crazy, but a butterfly is changing from a caterpillar. It's changing its body structure. It's completely changing its body structure and changing into a whole different bug, a whole different insect, a whole different version of itself. And so we do the same thing. I feel like right now I'm coming out of my cocoon and stepping into my butterfly phase. I'm stepping into my greatness. So have you ever had that moment where you were stepping into your greatness? Tara says, I feel like I'm in the cusp. I just got to figure it all out. Yes. And you know what, Tara? It's not something that's going to happen like that overnight. And I'm sure you already know this. This is a process. So you figuring it out, sometimes it won't happen. Sometimes you figuring it out isn't going to happen. It's going to be down the line. You look back and you're like, oh, that's why I went through that. Oh, that's why I met that person. Oh, that's why I had to let that situation go. And that's when you figure it out after the fact. You connect the dots when you're forward looking back. You can't connect them now because you're looking forward. You don't know what the dots are. But when you're this way and you've moved a little bit and then you look back, you're like, oh, that dot makes sense. That's why that happened. That's why that happened. Oh, that makes sense. You know, so you might not be able to figure it all out. It's just a matter of stepping into what feels right for you. And I feel like they're going to talk about this in the video too, trusting your gut. So we'll jump into that a little bit later. But figuring out what feels right to you and moving in that direction and trusting that everything is going to work out and trusting that, you know, you have your best interest. And if you believe in a higher power, for me, I believe in the divine. I call it the divine. You may call it God. You may call it the universe. But I believe that when you step into trusting the universe, trusting divine, trusting God, you are going to understand when you're making the right moves, even if you don't fully know it's all together, right? Even if you don't fully have it all together. Yes, makes total sense. You feel me?